Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know, like a motherfucking smack at it. And as you can tell by this thumbnail right here, we're talking about upstate Sureños. Sureño bound. Orderly, all the way upstate. You know where they're at? They're everywhere, vato, pero they're upstate. Flags planted, South Skate says Sur, real big. You can see it X3. As you can tell by the background, I'm chilling right here in Houston, Texas. Orderly, Tango Blast. Right here with the homeboy Rojo. This is the homeboy Rojo's background. You see it live and direct. This is where I'm at. This is what it be like. Anyways, trip out. So what I wanted to talk about in a menudo style in a direct fashion. Orderly, you like the lentes? I had to go lente on them. Upstate Sureños. Now, they've been established for a while, right? Quite contrary to what people may think, you know, traditionally the Southsiders, the Sureños, have always been from Bakersfield on back. Now, I remember one point in time, man, where Bakersfield had a lot of Norteños. There was a lot of Norteños. It was a heavily populated Norteño city. This is back in the late 70s, early 80s, man. There was actually regiments established in Bakersfield. There was a lot of NF members that came out of the Bakersfield area. Okay, and what happened somewhere along the line where Sureños started to migrate from down south from the LA, San Diego, Inland Empire area and take over Bakersfield. And quiet as it's kept, South Skate, they established, and Norteños said, fuck this, we're going to Tula County. And in that fashion. And that's what happened. But that was the first establishment of what you would consider upstate Sureños, right? Later on down the line, they started to establish cities like Atwater. You know, A-Town, Atwater, in Merced County is probably a stronghold for upstate Sureños, as well as the city of Richmond, Santa Cruz, and now they're deep even in the San Jose area. Now, you're going to have vatos get in here in my DMs and vatos come on, hey, but fuck that gunner, they're not in my city, so they stay indoors at night. Chale. Let's keep it real, bro. Let's give everyone their due respect, bro. They're established. And I'm going to tell you how they established and why they established, right? Reason being that in the early 90s, Norteños were focused on some red on red, and they were focused on hunting Sureños. But see, at the time, we always thought, and I say myself too, because I was right in the mix, thinking that Sureños were all paisas. Okay, there was this stigma up north that they were just paisas anyways, so don't even trip off of them. You know, you would hit vatos up, they would say that they didn't claim or that they were just paisa, you know, when they were alone. And then when vatos would get deeper, of course you would get jumped or rocks thrown at you or whatever the case may be. So I'd get chains y todo mal, right? This is just how the gangbanging was. Okay, so the Norteños started to focus on each other, cannibalizing each other, a lot of red on red, a lot of infighting. You had barrios versus barrios, and a whole lot of red on red situations where the focus wasn't even on these Sureños. And quite contrary to what you may believe, that's how they established, right? They were able to set up shop, little pockets of the persecuted, little pockets of these spices that felt like they were getting fucking dogged on and ran up on constantly, and started to establish, right? They started to establish where they became numerous in numbers and deep enough to the point where they could start coming out. And so you're starting to see blue paños, blue shirts. And the word upstate Sureño didn't hit until the 2000s. You know, there was no such thing as upstate Sureños. You know, when I was doing time in Fred C. Nellis and CYA, a lot of the Southsiders I met from LA and from San Diego in that area would call the Sureños that were from like San Jose or Atwater or whatever, Sureños del Norte. You know, they didn't say that they were fake camaradas, that they weren't with the business. They just said that that's where they were from. They basically had them labeled that. You know, of course, the embracement was real. It didn't matter, man. A Southsider was a Southsider. It doesn't matter if you're from fucking Salas, Sanjo, Watsonville, Merced, everywhere. You know what I mean? Every city up north has a Sureño presence. Now, I'm sure there is cities like Livingston, Livas, I know, where there are no Sureños, and certain other areas where they're not as rampant or as deep. But every single city has a Sureño presence. You know, in Sacra, they have Howell Park. They had 47th Street. In Stockton, they had the Playboys and the Vicky's Towns. Over there, of course, in Sanjo, Vicky's Towns, Barrio Sur 13, and whatever other case may be. They started to become deep in certain cities. Wherever raza was heavily populated is where they migrated to. You know, and I don't know what it was. If a lot of vatos, Norteños like to suggest that these vatos were rejects, they couldn't hack it as homeboys, and whatever the case may be. But this is not the case. This is not what Gunn came to understand. What I came to understand is that these vatos felt some type of way. They like that Chicano estilo. They like those bands, homes, that bald head, that slick back, them tacas. This is what they were into, and they gravitated more towards the raza orientated, because at that beginning of time, homes, when the Sureños were establishing, they were pushing the brown pride movement. They were pushing the raza, the Mexicanos, you know, and a lot of vatos that liked that were into their raza and their brown pride, gravitated towards that, whereas they always looked at norteños as being a little bit more urban, kicking back with africanos and having that slang and that style, the estilo of an africano, right? When that's not the case, man. It says in the bonds, man, any vato that's worthy of the cause. So of course the norteños embraced a lot of these gente, man, that were of different races and religions y todo. Oh my, right? Oh boy, this is how it went down. Anyways, at the end of the day, the sureños were able to establish pockets and became deeper. And now it's almost to the point, man, where they got their own thing. You know, now it's upstate sureños. And when that name hit, I remember first hearing it, I didn't understand what it meant. What do you mean upstate sureños? And basically what they're saying is sureños from up north, but they ain't trying to give the north no clout, right? Or no due process, no due justification, no respect. Right? At the end of the day, man, it's all about putting respect on each other's names. I said it time and time again. It's all about being respectful. You know, respect one's enemies because you never know what they can do. You know, if you disrespect your enemy and you don't respect them, so okay, you can get slapped rocked one time for your mind. The little 380 with sa, and in that fashion, you know. And then what are you going to be doing? I'm a dick right to the dick side. You're going to be telling. And in that fashion, you know. He did it. Who? The vato from the upstate sureño. You know what I mean? Charlie. You know what I mean? Then you open up your eyes, guns and badges, blue suits and white guys, and then you're in trouble. Then it gets ugly when you start involving the canine. Okay, at the end of the day, you can't take nothing away from these vatos they established. Every different city has their reasoning why it happened. Vatos gonna say, well, it's because all the homeboys were locked up, or all the homeboys were on scante, or the homeboys were maintaining, doing their thing, wiggling hums, and that's why they were able to push up. Or we didn't even know they were fucking sureños. We thought they were fights. Whatever your reasoning behind it is, so I understand a lot of those to be truths, but at the same time, a lot of the narrative is false. Okay? What happened was they just moved in, youngsters gravitated more towards their estilo, and they prospered, Hums. The propensity to prosper was there, and they did that. Okay? And that seems to be happening too, even within this NF, all this turmoil fighting with the NF, and you got norteños in flux not knowing who to be loyal to, the Fed faction or the state faction. They don't know where do I go? You know, they're not knowing what really is going on. Sureños are just in there like, bing, da, bang, handling their business, establishing more and more. You know, it was to the point in the 90s, late 90s when I got out of CYA, where I went to Santa Cruz, and I've told the story. Santa Cruz was so thick with sureños, motherfuckers couldn't even go on the beach boardwalk. Norteños would go on there and they'd get booked, they'd get smashed on, they'd get shot at. And of course, norteños would go on there hunting and handle their business as well. But like I'm saying, this is what it was. And everyone knew, man, if you were going to Santa Cruz, Southgate, the beach boardwalk, it was going to crack. Right off the top, you already knew it. Be established, be prepared. That's what was going to happen. Then you had cities like Atwater, right 10 minutes away from the city of Merced, where I'm from, where sureños have always had a stronghold. You know, they've had a stronghold and a stranglehold so deep on this city, and I know that there are norteño vatos started to invade there and to establish. But it's crazy when it's a northern city that norteños have to go establish. You would think that it would already be that way. But Charlie, man, the sureños are there. They're under the emic control there. They're doing their thing. You know, they're gotten so deep and so thick to the point where they're actually having RICO operations that have happened, like Operation Scrapbook and several other things that have happened in the city of Atwater and Winton, which is another little city located right there in Merced County. And vatos are deep. You know, it doesn't seem like I can't hit no northern city without meeting some sureños. And I righteously show them their respect, and they show me my respect, and we do a pushing. You know, everyone says they're boop de boop boop boop, and we go. You know, no disrespects. But to be like established in cities like San Jose, that was predominantly norteños of a high standard, or Salinas, Watsonville, Gilas, basically that whole Salad Bowl and Santa Clara County area, Monterey County, it tripped me out. It always tripped me out because, you know, like say Salas, headquarters for the Nuestra Familia, headquarters for the Norte. You know, like I said in my Salinas video, man, it's a city very well established by homeboys, has been since the fucking 40s and 50s. Fruit stand gang, right then in that fashion. Samsters, Casitas, oh my. And all the Boranda boys, all these different hoods. But to have sureños right there, smack dab in the middle, La Posada, who's been established and still continue to be, and several other barrios, is a trip. How can they wiggle like that? I don't know, man, but the establishment is real. It's been happening. Vatos are putting in work, you know, and they have to be about their situation, man, to be living there. And then in San Jose is a different animal. It's almost to the point where I've seen barrios in San Jose, well-established norteño barrios, flip. They are now sureño strongholds, sureño barrios. I know, I hate to say it, but I've seen sureños with big old fucking sharks on them, San Jose on their neck. You know, I've even been told by some sureños, some upstate sureños, that they're the ones who established the word San Jose. Which I had to sit back and tell him, Charlie, bro, you know, I mean, I respect you and shit, but you're going a little too far, bro. Sanjo's been since the 40s and 50s. Norteño's been saying that since they were established. You know, and it doesn't matter who said the word first or fucking, it's all frivolous at the end of the day. If you're from Sanjo, you're from Sanjo, rep it. Doesn't matter what fucking color you're fucking wearing or what fucking organization you're pushing. If you want to do it, handle it. It's your fucking thing. Get your wiggle on, homie. You know what I mean? Wiggle while you work. And that's just what it is. But I've seen a lot of upstate Sureños personally. Met some. My primo is one. My primo is one of the first vatos to establish the city of A-Town, Atwater, right? Atwater Sureños. And quiet as it's kept, I'm going to give you some background on it. It was a vato named Sal and Max Flores that established it, as well as my primo Johnny, right? Sniper. And when they established this, they were first tripas. Oh, yes, indeed. They watched color, so it's get Rocket don't smoke and Rocket don't joke. Pac-Man, right? Hey, it's me, man. Yes, indeed. They were tripas. They were claiming Insane Crip out of Long Beach. Next thing you know, they flipped to Insane Sureños. And then I seen it firsthand. They flipped to Atwater Sureños. And then you had the A-Town Dukes and the A-Town whatever this and whoop, boop, boop, boop. Bobby Street and Winton and whatever the case may be. I just know that they established and they had a name for themselves and they were handling their business and they continue to. You know, you can't go into the city of Atwater thinking that you're just going to wiggle through. One of my homeboys did. He ended up going to Foster Freeze because his hyena needed some ice cream because she was pregnant. And they blew my homeboy's head off with an AK. Now, I'm not going to say who did it, but so I was scared. We already know. Puro upstate, right? The Muertos are handling their business. And I just trip when I go city to city. I travel a lot. You know, the gun be wiggling. And everywhere I go, man, I'm seeing Su Tres, you know, the city of Vallejo. I have homeboys out there, so I travel out there. And that's a Sureño stronghold too, as well as Richmond. There's a lot of Sureños. Now, let me tell you about the upstate Sureños differently from the Valle to the Bay Area. In the Bay Area, you can't tell the difference from a Norteño and a Sureño. It's not like vatos are out there wearing bands and dickies and blue paños. There are some, man, but very far and few between. Everybody has that Bay Area swag. You know, they got the gold grills, them braids, the motherfucking whitey tees. I mean, whatever they're wearing. Sounds gay, you know what I mean? Them hammer pants, orderly, you know what I mean? We can make the hammer dance. They got that. This is what's going on. So you cannot tell the difference between a Norteño or Sureño. So when it comes to their situations, man, it can get ugly. You could hit a vato that's your homeboy or a vato that's really not caring about you. In that situation, the Bay is different. Now in the Valle, it's still more original, cholo, gangster style, East LA, Sanjo type issue. And you're going to see vatos wearing bands, red paños, huelga birds. And then you're going to see, of course, the Southsiders wearing their Dodgers, blue paños. Oh my, you know what I mean? So I'm your puppet t-shirt, smile, not cry later. You already know what it is. I hate to put a stigma and say that this is the way certain individuals dress, but man, I call it like I see it and I see it how I call it. You know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's all respect with the gun. I respect everyone. I push for the unity of the raza, so I want to see everyone come together. Do I think it will touch the calles, this end to hostilities that's going on in the penitentiaries? To tell you the truth, I don't know. You know, and especially with like these new indictments going on with the Fed and the state faction, things of that nature, it's really hard to call right now because Norteños are in flux. They're not really concerned with what's going on with the upstate Sureños, and that's giving the upstate Sureños more time to establish. And they are, vato, quite contrary to what anyone is thinking. Them vatos are like, sauce, that flag right there, orale, that's us, orale, V-Town, baby, check that out, it's about to go down. Orale, over here, Santa Cruz, and the beach boardwalk, over here, Richmond, so orale, Richmond. You know, and I had homeboys from Richmond, man, that can't even go back to their own hood because it's ugly. It's an ugly situation. And I'm not fucking talking bad on all fucking Richmond Norteños. There's some solid motherfuckers, right? One of my good friends was solid as fuck out of Richmond, or Richmond, Barrio Loco, to the fullest. Shout out to the homeboy Shadow. But at the same time, vatos established. You know, they're even started to spring up Sureño hoods in Merced. You know, PPLs, Pocos Pero Locos, Southside Locals. And did my hood feel some type of way? Of course, indubitably they felt some type of way. But vatos are still there. You know, so obviously motherfuckers gonna make them necessary moves to handle their business like they say. And it's because Norteños are more focused on trash, basura, dropouts, these degenerate gangs, the riders, the fucking flowers, or whatever the case may be. What they got all this turmoil going on within now, especially with the actives, with the feds and state faction, that they are not focused on who are supposed to be the enemies, which are the Sureños. When at the end of the day, raza is raza and nobody is the enemy, to tell you the truth. Doesn't matter if vatos established, you know what I mean? Let them live how they want to live. Vatos sabes que they eat menudo just like we eat menudo, and in that fashion. But I did want to say that reason being that these vatos were able to establish as well as they were was because vatos were just not focusing. Vatos were not handling their business. Okay, in my era, in the early 90s, Vatos were smacking Sureños down, and Sureños were smacking Norteños down up north. Now, of course, the real Sureños down south, and I say real, but I don't mean like you Vatos from upstate aren't real. I'm just saying the original Sureños from down south didn't really focus on Norteños unless they were in prison in the California Department of Corrections. That's when they already knew what time it was. That's when the funk was on. But they didn't trip because there were no Norteños down there established in LA. And Vatos asked me, well, if the Sureños were able to establish up north, why aren't Norteños able to establish down south? So I was scared. Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Do you see how it is down there? It's such a congested area, man. There's so many Southsider gangs that are all fighting amongst each other or doing their wiggle. There's no room for the Norteños or any hood to establish, period, plain and simple. That's just the way it is, man. And you have to be a lunatic to think that you're just going to go down to LA and establish your hood. It's not like that. See, it's different with the Norteños as to the Sureños. Where, say, I'm from Merced Dead and Merced Dead End, you're not going to find Merced Dead End in LA. Merced Dead End is where Merced Dead End is at, 730, right there on the west. You know what I mean? I was there yesterday, boom, boom, on the block. That's where it's at. Whereas you'll find playboys in South Central LA, you'll find them in the east of LA, you'll find them in Stockton, you'll find them in San Jose. Their barrios, homeboys from their barrios go to different cities and establish their hood. You know, I've met vatos from 18th Street. Orderly, where you from? I'm from 18th Street, Shadow Park. Was that right? These vatos were from fucking Medford, Oregon. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, spell it. Shadow, S-H-A-W. Bro, it's Chateau Park, not Shadow Park, like a fucking shadow, like the sun's beaming on you. Spence on la tira. The whole time they've been spelling their hood wrong. Because vatos didn't really know, because they're not really from Los. So to think that these vatos from Los would feel some type of way, maybe not as far as the south side issue goes, because they all look at each other as camaradas and homeboys, and at the end of the day, they're going to respect each other, you know what I mean? They're all homeboys. But when you're trying to claim someone's barrio, you're not really from the South Los or South Central or Northeast LA or Southeast LA or whatever, Harbor area, whatever the case may be, San Diego. Vatos are going to feel some type of way. So, you're from fucking Stockton, homes. You know what I mean? Again, in that fashion. That's just how it is. The menudo can get real, right? But do I give total respect to the upstate Sureños? How can I not? You know, they established, doesn't matter how, doesn't matter if they were looked at as paisas, and a lot of them were, man. I'm just being totally honest. I used to hit vatos up, man, where you from? Oh, yo soy paisa. You know what I mean? De Michoacán. Fucking 3 days later, I'm de Maravilla, vatan in that fashion. Orale, fuck. I thought you were from Michoacán. I am from Michoacán, pero I claim Maravilla. Well, why didn't you tell me that yesterday when it was just you? That's good, cause today I got time, cuz. You know what I mean? In that fashion. So it happens, man, and I'm sure it happens the opposite too, man. Norteños find themselves by themselves, vatos hit them up, and, you know, they're like, Charlie Holmes, I don't blame. Why is that hat red? Yo soy sangre. And in that fashion. Orale, what's up, blood? You know what I mean? Shit happens. You know, vatos get deep and their chest puffs out a little bit more. They turn into the gallo negro. You know what I mean? The rooster. I put some feria on that. And that's just how it be like. Anyways, at the end of the day, man, I just wanted to do this video to show some love and pay some homage to the upstate Sureños. You know, and that whole name in itself is disrespectful because it's disrespecting the north, man. If you're from up north, just say you're a Sureño from up north, humps. You know, all that, I'm from upstate. You know what I mean? You don't see vatos say, I'm from downstate. Charlie, they just say, I'm from the LA, I'm from the Sur, and then you see vato, I'm from upstate Sureño. Charlie, you're from San Jose. You know what I mean? It's not upstate, it's just fucking you live in San Jose. Period. You know, rep where you're from, humps. You know, it's ain't nothing to it but to do it. Get your mind right and you'll shine right. If you knew better, homeboy, I know, obviously you do, so you do better. That's just what it is. But I wanted to show a little respect, a little love, upstate Sureños, how the establishment is real. And they got a lot of cities, man. Like I said, I'm going to do a spill on Richmond, how that was overtaken, because that city was basically overran and overtaken by Sureños. And they established, man, there's a lot of different stories to why that happened. You know, and of course, like I said, Santa Cruz has a deep, rich history of Vallejo, Atwater, just these certain towns, man. And it's funny how they could do it in one town, but the next town over will be all Norteños, and motherfuckers are working parallel together doing their thing. You know, with this end of hostilities going on inside prison where everyone's playing handball, everyone's kicking it, there's a truce, basically no turmoil, everyone's on a soft defensive stance. Why can't that happen out here? Why do vatos feel some type of way out here? They're going to catch a life beep, then go in there and play handball with vatos. I don't understand. It makes no sense to me, but I guess it is what it is. I'm not in that loop, so I have no horse in the race, so it doesn't matter anyways. At the end of the day, man, open your eyes, wake up and see the, hey, so get America's cup of coffee. You have to have a cup of coffee, sip on it one time, and see your surroundings around you and know that everyone is the same. We're all brown and proud at the end of the day. Whether you fucking wear fucking skinny ass, tight ass Joto pants, or you fucking wear baggy bands like the gun bang bang, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, yes, I know, I gotta agree, you're a raza, you know, come here, so okay, but not in my house with those funny fucking things on, and in that fashion, you know what I mean, Mr. 6ix9ine. Anyways, I hope that you guys get everything that you want coming to you. I hope that you move fast with a purpose. Remember, that's called hustling. Again, I'm right here with Big Rojo. Later on tonight, I'm going to be flying out. Tomorrow, I will be dropping some videos. You never know what it may be. It might be that little workout, man. I have some big announcements coming on with me and the Tony fight. Very big announcements with the boxer fight. Just a lot of different things going on. If you're not a member, go be a member of the gun. I'm going to fucking start doing a lot of things. We got a raffle coming up on Wednesday where I'm going to be giving away a free microphone. Like and subscribe if you like this channel. If you don't, sabes que vale verga. And in that fashion, you already know what it is. I ain't tripping. Slip into the clipping and get to spitting. You know what it is. The gun. Bang, bang. Raza.